Hey Brave Nation, it's Jon Gross, and I want to welcome you into our third episode of BraveHawk Talk on the UNCP Sports Network. Today, we are joined by two people who have made a lasting impact on UNCP and will continue to do so for years to come. First, I speak with this week's Scotland Health Student Athlete of the Week. That is Tyler Makosy of the UNC Pembroke Wrestling Team. And then I sit down with UNCP Associate Athletic Director for Communications and Strategic Initiatives, Todd Anderson. Trust me, you won't want to miss these interviews. Here's episode 3 of BraveHawk Talk. Tyler, first of all, thank you so much for joining me on our newest episode of BraveHawk Talk. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Obviously, a crazy time right now here and really worldwide. How have you been holding up over the last few weeks?
Best as I can. I'm just glad my family's safe. I'm glad everyone I know closely safe, and hopefully this all can blow over soon.
This is a pandemic that had a direct impact on your athletic career. In your senior season here at UNCP, you qualify for the NCAA tournament, get all the way up to South Dakota, and then find out that it was canceled. What was that moment like for you?
It was, honestly, I'm still trying to process it. It all happened so quick. I remember the day so detailed. It was Thursday, day before the national tournament, and we just finished a workout, and I went and took a nap, and I woke up and my phone was blowing up, and my parents were about to get on the plane, and they were asking like, hey, I heard the tournament's canceled. Coach texted us, said, hold on, I don't know what's going on. Then my other teammates were texting me like it's done, like they canceled it, and so we just didn't know what to think. And so we decided to go down to the venue, and because we were about to get another practice in, lose some weight, and cap off the year with practices. And then we went down, and they were rolling up the mats, and so it just all happened at once. I can't even begin to find words to describe it. It just kind of sucks.
Did you ever think of that being a possibility as you guys made the trip up there?
I did not, and I'm a positive person. I like to
right.
err on the side of positivity, and I never in a million years thought that they would cancel that tournament. I mean, we were there. It was literally, we were about 15 hours from weighing in, and I just thought, maybe after the tournament stuff might get a little weird and life might change a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I never thought we wouldn't wrestle that tournament. It just still hasn't really hit me yet. I can't believe they did that. But, it makes sense now. Wrestling's a contact-to-contact sport, and they were just trying to, prevent the spread of something. But, like you said, we were there. We were in South Dakota ready to go. So it just it was a little weird. I never in a million years saw that coming.
About it, I could only imagine what that must be like. And really, obviously, sorry to hear about that happening. But you look at your final season here at UNCP, and you take that aspect away. It was, at least in my eyes, kind of a storybook season. You pick up that 100th victory. As a team, you win the conference championship. You win the regional championship. What was your senior season like for you?
It was awesome. I can't, I posted something the day they canceled the tournament. I said, I hate the NCAA right now, but I can't thank it enough for everything it's given me, and my senior year was definitely a reflection of that. I got my 100th win, and I didn't get that in high school. That was really special, especially at home, senior night and everything. We won the region tournament. My last memory of wrestling, and the last time I was in a gym, after a wrestling tournament, I was hoisting up a region trophy with my teammates, so that's a pretty cool memory. And we won conference. That was awesome. We beat 2 really good nationally ranked teams to win that. So it really was. It was a senior year that I really couldn't have asked for a better, I couldn't ask for something better. And it just stinks we couldn't put it all together. One more tournament, but that doesn't take away the great year we had. So I'm super thankful. I'm super lucky. I'm super fortunate that I got to come to college and even wrestle. And I'm very, very, very lucky that OT gave me a chance, and this was the senior year I had. I can't really say anything else. I'm just super lucky, and I'm very grateful for my senior year.
And that Super Region 2 title that you guys picked up, just the second all-time regional championship in UNCP athletics at the D2 level. So certainly a historic achievement. And, you're somebody who, listen, as a student athlete, people understand that it is a massive, massive, massive commitment to balance the athletic side of things and the academic side of things. And for most student athletes, and this is not a knock on them at all, they just don't have the opportunity or the time to do other things. But you've really made a point in your time at UNCP to get involved in other things besides just wrestling and the academic side of things. What are some of the things that you've been involved in on campus?
There's a lot, and I really did. I wanted the best college experience that I could possibly get, because again, I never thought I'd come to college, never thought I'd wrestle, and so I wanted to just leave a mark my 5 years. I joined the Honors College and was a part of a lot of their events. I wanted to run for office, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. I'm glad I got to just sit back and be a part of it, and I'm glad I still got to do all the events there. I was part of a Bible study group every year. Kind of changed every year, but this year I was part of AIA, and we meet Tuesday with Mr. Dick Christie and Miss Wendy Christie, so that's awesome. I am the student athlete advisory committee. I forgot the acronym for a second. That's not good as a president. I'm the SAC president, as we like to call it, and so that's been awesome. I really was kind of not thrown into the position, but I was asked just out of the blue to be the president. I was a little, skeptical taking that, especially with all the commitments that being a student athlete, weighs down on you. But I'm so glad I did that. That's been awesome, and I've been fortunate to have both Megan Sanger, our past director of compliance, and Christina Chow kind of supervise me. So it's been awesome to get to know them on a personal level, and they're both awesome. And I've gotten to know the staff better just because of that, and I've spoken at events, and so literally it's all been awesome. I know there's more. They just can't come to my head right now, but it's been awesome. I mean, the fact that I was able to be a student and an athlete and able to be involved in so many things and been given so many opportunities here at UNCP, it's been incredible. I can't really ask for a better college experience.
And you say this has been an incredible experience for you and your time at UNCP. What has made it so great? And you said you weren't necessarily sure if you were going to wrestle in college. And when you think back to that time and now you think to where you are now, what has this last 4 years or so been like for you?
It's been, again, I can't find a better word to say. It's just been awesome. I came to college not really knowing what to expect. I didn't know anyone here. I'm from Maryland, but I wanted to go a little bit from home just to see a different part of the country, meet new people, and put myself in kind of that uncomfortable position of having to start over. And I'm so glad I did. I've met so many awesome people here. It's just been the best experience I could ever imagine. I mean, I was able to see it all, do it all, meet so many new people, and I love this town. I love the small town feel of this college. I walk down the hallway on any given day, even during quarantine, and there's at least 5-10 people that'll say hi to me. I love that, and I love how personal it is. I've met the chancellor a bunch of times. I mean, not too many people have met their own chancellor. Not too many people have a personal connection with their athletic director and stuff like that. So I'm super lucky, and I'm super thankful that I just had the college experience I did. It's awesome.
And you've obviously achieved a lot, both on and off the mat, in your time at UNC Pembroke. What are some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Let's see here. I'd have to say my 100th win's one of my proudest. I mean, like I said, my high school career ended with 99 wins and took second in the state finals, and that's kind of the reason I wanted to come to college. So being able to finally see that come together, I mean, 100 matches is a lot. It's 100 weigh-ins, warm-ups. You got to travel, it's a lot. And so the fact that I was able to do that 100 times and get my arm raised is very proud. But, I kept the highest GPA on the team for 4 years. So that's something that I'm proud of. I wanted to get straight A's and everything like that. And I didn't make the best grades in college, but, I pushed myself to study a lot and get good grades. And, that got me to the point where I was in the running for that Elite 90 award this year. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud that my parents didn't waste a bunch of money. And, my college experience didn't end short because of my grades. But that's something I'm proud of, because school's hard for me. I'm not a good test taker. I'm not a good, studier, really. I can't really retain a lot of information, but the fact that I was able to do that is something I'm proud of, too. And, of course, all the team accomplishments. I mean, I've been part of a great team for 5 years. It didn't matter if we had an on or off year, on or off year. We
Right.
still did awesome. And so the team was really something I'm proud to be a part of too.
And you leave UNCP now with quite the resume and to enter whatever the next stage of your life may be. Do you have plans for the future?
I do. I'm not 100% sure what they are just yet. But one plan is I'm definitely going to stay here. OT has offered me a spot on the coaching staff, and so I'm definitely going to take that. I can't walk away from the sport. I love it too much, and it's now my time to give back to it a little bit. It's done so much to me. I need to give back and help the future of UNCP. My dream job is to be a sport nutritionist, and so I think down the road, sometime later, I'm going to go get my sport nutrition degree. I have a couple schools in mind. I just got to take the GREs and stuff like that, but again, I'm in no hurry.
Right.
And then hopefully one day I'll be a Division I sport nutritionist. I think that'd be super cool, and I love wrestling, and hopefully I can coach it for a little bit in a little while, but I kind of want to branch out and help all athletes, and it's kind of a topic that gets overlooked. Speaking of UNCP, we don't have a sport nutritionist, and so it was hard sometimes for me to kind of gauge what should I eat? I have to weigh in an hour, or I'm underweight and I'm starving, but I don't want to miss weight and stuff like that, and then what's going to be the best to help me perform in that time. So I definitely want to step into that role and help student athletes, on something that might not have a lot of information on or might not have been taught well of.
And you mentioned moving into the coaching ranks for at least a little bit. Is that something that you ever imagined yourself doing?
Honestly, at the college level, no. We spitballed the option I think last year, because my roommate Andrew Colburn did the same thing. So Andrew, unfortunately, his athletic career ended shortly with a bunch of injuries and concussions and everything like that. But fortunately, he was able to join the coaching staff as kind of like a student volunteer coach this year, and he was awesome. I mean, he loved it. He's a great coach, even better roommate. I mean, he's honestly who I kind of look up to. So I saw him step into that role, and I want to do the same thing. And like I said, it's time for me to give back. There's been so many coaches, so many people that have given to me, and I feel like it's my turn to give back to, the new recruits, the people that are still on the team and everything like that, or even just Coach OT, Coach Blaze, Coach Andrew. I mean, all three of them, I'm going to help them out because they helped me out a lot, and so it's definitely my time to give back. But I never saw me coaching in college. That's pretty cool, so I definitely jumped on that opportunity.
I want to wrap up quickly with a question on a different note, a little bit of a fun question here that'll make you think for a second. You could chew on it for as long as you need.
All right.
If your shirt isn't tucked into your pants, are your pants tucked into your shirt? I can repeat the question if you need. And if you're listening too, I want you all to think about this because I don't know if there's a right answer to this.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like for something to be tucked in, it has to be uncomfortable because I hate tucking my shirt in. So I would definitely say that their pants are not tucked into your shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's too comfortable.
It's way too comfortable. I hate tucking in shirt. I hate dressing up. I hate doing anything like that.
Okay.
So whenever I tuck a shirt in, it means I'm uncomfortable and I have to look good. So nah, I just say it's just a regular pair of pants and a regular shirt.
There you have it, Tyler Makosy. Phenomenal insight on a very difficult question, and you've been such an incredible ambassador for UNC Pembroke and its athletic department and your time here. And again, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come speak with me.
Well, yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I really do appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Again, a huge thank you to Tyler for hopping on today's show, and we really look forward to following his continued success both here at UNCP and beyond. Next up, we talk UNCP athletics, dogs, and mopeds. Yep, that's right. Here's our next guest, Todd Anderson.
Todd, first of all, thank you so much for hopping on BraveHawk Talk. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me.
Obviously, it's been a pretty hectic last few weeks with the COVID-19 pandemic going around and the impact that's had on UNCP athletics. How have you been holding up during this tough time?
I've been all right. I mean, it's as you experienced and everybody else on the external ops has experienced. We're 150 miles an hour in February and early March, and then all of a sudden you go down to 0 miles an hour, and it's an adjustment period for sure. It's all of a sudden your life feels like it has no purpose, and because you're waking up in the morning and just sitting there. But we're working from home, and that's sort of taking the mundane off of it. But I mean, it's weird not coming to work after working a lot of hours in February and March.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny when one of the first events that I went to was that student athlete welcome back event.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you kind of voiced it. I think it was
Right.
called like the voice of God, right?
Right.
That's how kind of when I think of your role here at UNCP, that's kind of what I think of. Like you are the voice behind everything, what people see, but people like don't necessarily see you in that role.
Well,
would you say that's
I think you're building me up there a little bit too much,
in
John, but-
terms of the communication side
Right.
of things. So you have your hand in it.
Yeah, I mean, my job, I think, is to make sure all the pieces are in the right place, and then as you've learned since you've been here over the past 9 months, once all the pieces, I feel like they're in place from an external ops standpoint, I pretty much let you guys go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for more of a advisory. Hey, is this okay to go up? And but yeah, I mean, I'm present at everything behind the scenes, but
Right.
not necessarily. I prefer to have everything go on you guys as far as from an appreciation standpoint. But I just make sure everything's in the right places. So don't inflate my role too much. I mean, I enjoy my role here and I enjoy UNCP, but I take pride on having all the pieces in the right place and making sure everything goes according to plan from that point.
Now, you're in your 14th year here at
14th
UNCP,
year,
correct? What was it that initially drew you to UNC Pembroke?
I mean, the opportunity, UNCP did not have a football team here yet, and from my career progression standpoint, doing and being the contact for football was a drawing point for me. I was at Mississippi State at the time, and I worked with 2 teams, and I was traveling every trip with them. There was a guideline in the advertisement for UNCP that travel was not required, and I was ready to get to a point to where I could spend a little bit more time in the office and taking care of the day-to-day things. But again, I think that the biggest selling point was that I was in charge of my own office. The staffing at the time, UNCP didn't have an assistant, but they were an assistant sports information director, but they were hiring that person at the same time as they were hiring for the position that I'm in now. So that was sort of okay, they're trying something new and they're getting more staff in. So maybe it's not so bad that they only have 2 people in charge of 15, 16 sports. So that was a drawing point. And of course, when I got here and I met all the people here, and Dan Kenny was the athletic director at the time, I loved UNCP. I thought it was a great place, and I still feel that way today.
And did you ever imagine yourself being here for 14 years when you first took the job?
I did not, actually. And I tell this story to everyone that asked me in my position from 1999 to 2006, so 7-year period. There was 7 different me's along the way. So it can range from anywhere to, and I think for a vast majority of them it was not this way, but the work ethic that's required to go into this job is enough to scare people away. I think that at the time, I think UNCP maybe was a stepping stone job, which I don't think it really entails that anymore. Obviously, I've been here 14 years, but Dan Kenny at the time, I was actually, came on my interview. I had just left New York visiting family up there, and I flew here, did my interview, and then I was flying home, and I flew into Birmingham Airport, which is probably about an hour and a half away from Starkville. And Dan Kenny called me, and he offered me the position, and he said, "I'd really like it if you could give us a 2-year commitment." And I'm thinking, okay, that's just weird. I was like, why would I only commit to being in a job for 2 years? And I later would find out that there'd been a different person in this position for every 7 years. And that was a challenge in itself coming in, because everybody has their own way to organize stuff. And some people have their own way to unorganize stuff. So it's a work in progress to this day with archival and video footage if it exists. So that was the difficult part. But did I ever imagine myself to be here 14 years? No, just from that conversation. It was, hey, we'd like to give you a 2-year commitment, but I mean, I've seen 4 chancellors now. I've seen 2 athletic directors. So I guess it's as Dick Christie refers to me as the UNCP historian, but obviously there's Lawrence Locklear on campus as that person. But I've seen a lot in the last 14 years and different things developing. I've seen a lot of people come through here. So I'm thankful for my time here. The simple answer to your question, no, I didn't think I would be here 14 years.
You mentioned archiving and making sure that records are up to date and accurate, and that's something that I've always been fascinated by, whether it's here or, I don't know, the Baseball Hall of Fame, anything at that level. So let's say you have a baseball game from, I don't know, the 1970s that you need to find information about, or how do you go about figuring that out?
Well, the internet is a great tool these days, but I mean, we have stuff that you can go back to old media guides and stuff like that, and but Google searches are your number one thing to try to find information on. I actually spent a great deal of resources this past summer getting a men's basketball record book complete. There's still some things that need to be added to it, but we're a lot closer than we were, but we had a situation where one of the records room flooded before I got here, and so there was boxes of stuff that were completely unusable. So that's lost history, and at the time it seems really minor when someone looks at a box and can't believe, it's just a bunch of old magazines, but that's history that's lost. The only people that would have that history is the people that actually played in the games, and it makes it difficult when those people live all over the country, but you don't really have an exact story of what happened in that game anymore, so that makes it difficult. So it's just a matter of it is being a sports information nerd coming across things that go, I can really use that to update this history. So I try to, from the time I got here, maintain a great history. It was perfect timing for me to start to where our football history is pretty much complete. If I need to go back and revisit a game, I've been here since I know where everything's at. I know how to get access to the information, so that helps a lot too.
Mentioned being here for 14 years, and over that time, there have been a lot of changes both on campus and in the athletic department and in athletic communications. What are some of the changes that you're most proud of?
Well, I think that you've been a part of this as well. I think the expansion of our video department. I think that we offer a lot from a live stream, from a broadcasting standpoint, to where people identify with you guys. People know by hearing your voice who you are, and that's pretty cool to me that we've gotten to that point to where people recognize you and identify with you. We've added different departments here to make our athletic department stronger, but I mean it's this athletic department seems to grow year after year and gets more and more successful, and I think Dick Christie is a big reason for that, and the changes that he's made since he's been here, and it's allowed our teams to get more competitive, not just in the region but on the national level. So a lot of things have changed, but a lot of things have stayed the same. But I think that overall I've been impressed with how the athletic department has grown and become more competitive.
And of course, you have a very multifaceted position here, but is there a favorite part of your job?
A favorite part of my job? It'd be kind of hard to nail down. I think that seeing our team succeed is a really cool thing. Seeing our athletes get All-Americans, seeing our athletes win NCAA statistical championships. I think just watching the success and being a small part of that success is probably my favorite part of the job. But from that standpoint, I mean, and seeing all the different changes and things that have been added, not just aesthetically but logistically, that have made this department better. Those are some of my favorite things as well.
Now, outside of your position here at UNCP, one of the first things that I learned about you is how much you love dogs, and you really do a lot, not only with your own personal dogs, but in the community. You are the vice president of the local Humane Society. Where did that love of dogs come from?
Honestly, it started when I was in Starkville at Mississippi State. My my friend, he's still my friend, and my roommate at the time, Tony, had bought me. He wanted a dog for his girlfriend, and he decided that he was gonna get me a dog as well. So I sort of had no choice but to. Go ahead. I sort of had no choice but to start falling in love with dogs at the moment. So, I'm really a big proponent of dachshunds, wiener dogs now. That sort of stemmed from the fact that the dog that Tony had bought me was a lab chow mix, and by the time it was one, it had been 90 pounds, and it was scaling 8-foot fences, and so I decided I wanted a smaller dog that I could bond with, more of a lap dog. My friend Elise in the office that I worked with at Mississippi State decided, hey, why don't you get a wiener dog? They're good dogs, and I've sort of been in love with that breed ever since. So it's a humanistic standpoint to where you sort of, it's weird that how I've connected with animals since I bought my dog Kaiser. I drove 4.5 hours to the coast of Mississippi to buy him, and he passed a couple of years ago. So it's different how animals have changed my life, and them not having a voice, and I'm involved in foster and rescues and stuff. So it's completely changed my life to the fact that I'm totally enamored and obsessed with animals now. So it's I don't know, it's different things at different points of to why I've become so involved with them. So.
And you have 2 dogs right now,
do.
correct? Okay.
I do. Both of them were, both of them in the next couple of months. I will have had them for 2 years. Once Kaiser, my first dachshund, passed in the day before Thanksgiving in 2017, I got involved with a rescue, and the first rescue dog I had, where I was just supposed to foster him, I adopted that dog within 4 hours, and then a few months later, this dog needs help, so I ended up adopting her too. So those are my 2 permanent dogs now, but I've had probably 4 or 5 that have come through my house that I've fostered, that have gone on to live with people that are now taking care of them as their adoptive family.
And like I mentioned before, you're currently the vice president of the Humane Society. Why did you decide to get involved at that level?
Well, Dr. Marion Wooten here knew how much I loved animals, and she thought that they had an opening on the Humane Society board of directors, and she thought that because of my work with rescues, and I spend time transporting, there's a transportation network of volunteers that if someone adopts a dog that's currently living in Georgia and the dog has to go to Maryland, they take like hour-and-a-half legs and move the dog along and deliver it to its final home. So she thought with my involvement in all of that I would be a good fit for the Humane Society. My work in communications would benefit the Humane Society as well. So I was pretty much just a member of the board for about a little over a year, and then an opening, the president had moved on, and so just sort of a shuffling. They asked me if I wanted to be vice president, and so I got involved, and now I'm vice president of the board of directors. Sometimes my schedule allows me to go to every meeting, but usually, like as you experienced in February and March, sometimes I can't make every meeting,
Right.
so I do what I can.
Well, as somebody who, at least my family back home, we adopted a rescue dog from North Carolina. I appreciate the work that you do
Absolutely.
to
And I appreciate you adopting the dog. So.
It was the best decision that we ever
Yeah.
made. My
Yeah.
dad was very reluctant to do it at first, and he absolutely is in love with the dog. So my whole family loves their dog.
It doesn't take and especially for me, it doesn't take me too long to fall in love with a dog. And everybody's like, well, how do you rescue? How do you say goodbye to him? And that's quite possibly the hardest thing to do, is because, and now take it recently, I had a dachshund named Louie that now lives in Manhattan, across the street from Central Park. I had him for three months, and it was saying goodbye to him and watching him leave was quite possibly one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But now seeing pictures of him playing with tennis balls and being happy, that's rewarding to me, because knowing that dog came from somewhere where somebody didn't want him and somebody dumped him at a shelter, and just left him there. That's heartbreaking to me, and knowing that he's in a good place now where he's got love every day and got as much food and toys as you want to eat, that's the rewarding part to me.
I want to end with a question, and you've been the one to propose a lot of these fun questions at the end of interviews. So you had sent me a bunch, and I think this one I found pretty funny.
Okay.
Okay, what's something completely legal that pisses you off when you see it happening?
Okay, Jack Slavin, our marketing director, he knows there's certain people around this department that know how to press my buttons. And one of the things that's completely illegal that pisses me off when I see it is mopeds in the middle of the road.
What?
Yes, it's when I'm driving, especially, and those that know me know that I'm more of an offensive driver than a defensive driver. So when there's a moped and it's a 45 mile per hour zone and there's moped driving in the middle of the road outside the bike lane, just in the road, thinking that they have the road, because to me, and it's a petty thing for me, but you can drive a moped and nobody really knows if you have a driver's license. Nobody really knows you can drive a moped that doesn't necessarily have a license plate on it at all. So it's just one of those things where it makes my skin crawl that they think they own the road and they're literally like a tenth the size of a car, and knowing all those unknown variables about whether they have a license, whether they even register their moped with the state, and if I don't know, it's a crazy pet peeve of mine, but it's something that exists, and something, if you ever rode with me in my car and we saw a moped, you'd see probably a difference.
Now, does this apply to motorcycles too, or just
no,
for mopeds?
just mopeds.
It's funny because when I saw that question, I thought it would take you at least a second to figure it out. You right away you knew.
Absolutely, and if you and Bull, Jack Bull Slavin, our marketing director, he knows the answer to that question. Like he could have answered that question for me, of what pisses me off that's completely illegal. So, I mean, if and imagine, and my whole point in giving these questions to you and you picking them out is to make people have to think about it for a little bit, but that's something I do not have to think about at all.
Wow. Well, I picked that out thinking that you would have to think about it a little bit, but that you'd give a great answer. You gave a great answer regardless.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. If you were to one day run for political office, would you run in an anti-moped platform?
I don't know. I think that it might be buried deep in my political platform in the fine print that hey, this guy's going to outlaw mopeds on the road, then yeah, maybe it might be part of my political platform. It probably wouldn't get me elected by the moped moped owners for sure, but
the moped lobby would rally against you.
Yeah, the moped lobbyists, man, I'd be in trouble with them for sure. So
well, Todd, thank you so much for hopping on BraveHawk Talk, and thank you for the work you do here at UNCP and what you do with the Humane Society and keeping our roads safe.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
That'll do it for our third episode of BraveHawk Talk. For more on UNC Pembroke Athletics, please visit uncpbraves.com and make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at UNCP_sports. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to tune in on Friday as well for our next episode. We'll talk to you then.